Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, welcome back to another video. In this one, I wanted to focus a little bit on the release of the next Battlefield game in 2025 and how I think DICE should tackle that, because releases of games, specifically Battlefield games, have gone a little bit downhill. I feel like they're all hype and no substance, and that was definitely the case with Battlefield 2042. And like, this idea kind of came to mind because somebody commented on one of my YouTube videos from 10 years ago, probably 10 plus years ago, and it was on the release of Battlefield 4. And this was a presentation that DICE did at E3 where they were showing off the game, and I thought it would be fun if we just show you guys this video here because it was just way better than what they did with 2042, and I think this is the avenue or the route they should go down with the next game. As always guys, if you enjoy the content here on the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. There will be more Battlefield coming in the future, and of course Delta Force, if the alpha ever turns up. It of course got delayed from the 18th, so bit of a bummer there, but we'll be covering both games here on the channel, so if that is something you enjoy, don't forget to hit subscribe, and as always guys, thank you so much for the support. Like, I think this video is sort of lost to time. I only found this live stream because I recorded it for my YouTube channel like 10 years ago, and by the way, you're probably going to hear old Ghost, cringe Ghost, so try not to cringe with me too hard. But this is the E3 presentation that they did here, and I think this is pretty awesome, so let's just listen to this.
So people talk about next generation gaming, but what does that really mean? For us at DICE, it's not just about pretty graphics.
By the way, sorry, just to interject, Patrick Back, absolute legend, was the executive producer. Some of you may remember the "It's Magic" meme that came out around Battlefield 4, where he has like the wizard hat on. I think in some interview he said that the game was like magic, and then every bug that came up about Battlefield 4, people would quote him saying, "It's magic." Anyway, just a random thought there.
It's a package of emotion, immersion, and being connected that really counts. The next generation of Battlefield stands for many things. Only in Battlefield can you experience destruction and dynamic environments that react to your every move.
Levolution, man.
It's called Levolution.
Oh.
Only in Battlefield will you feel the chaos of all-out war with 64 players all around you. Only in Battlefield will you have the power to dominate air, land, and sea.
See, now that is something that we've been missing from games, right? I really think in the next game, they need to bring the sea combat back again, because there hasn't really been proper sea combat since Battlefield 1. I believe Battlefield 4, I didn't play the game too much, so don't, come at me with your pitchforks if I'm wrong here, but I think they just had landing craft, little dinghies, like there wasn't proper naval combat, and maybe that's understandable, but then they skipped it entirely for Battlefield 2042. So I think for the next game, they really need to bring that third facet of warfare back.
And only in Battlefield will you experience true team play with your squad.
So in Battlefield 4, we are giving you Commander Mode.
Oh, Commander Mode.
As a commander, thank you. As a commander, you take a bird's eye view and directly impact the action on the ground. You provide critical intelligence to your team and with powerful assets, and you help turn the tide of the battle.
Like, look at this, dude. Like, this is also something that has to come back for the next game. I'm not sure they necessarily need to do it the way they did in BF4, where they have the tablet that you can control it with. So for those who don't know, you could go into the battle log, which was, it was basically just a web browser. You could go in a server and be the commander, and this is the interface that you would see. So you could essentially be the commander in a game of Battlefield without even logging into the game, which was pretty cool, right? I thought they would expand on that and on Battlelog going into the future, but they've actually gone the other direction. They've gotten rid of all of this, like these foundational things, along with the server browser, of course, which in my opinion is a step backwards. You could also do this on a tablet, so if you had an iPad or something, you could just sit in the sofa and kind of, take part in a game of Battlefield. And of course, in previous Battlefield games, like at least I think Battlefield 2142, maybe in BF2 as well, you were a commander on the ground, and you could actually call in artillery strikes and stuff.
Alright guys, so I decided to take...
Oh god, it's cringe. It's old Ghost. It's the Ghost of Christmas past.
Quick pause here.
That was me obviously doing my little analysis off of this. We don't need to do that because we now know how this works. I didn't know then.
Now, Commander Mode is a part of a connected Battlefield experience, which you can enjoy either in your living room or on the go with your tablet. Part of that connected experience is also Battlelog. And this is our social network that lets players communicate and compete with friends. With our new features, you will be able to
like, look at that. You could have it on a phone, you had it on tablets, you could log into it on PC, wherever you are, you could log in. You could see the stats for all of your weapons, you could see the platoons, you could see who was online playing. Like, so many great features of this. And then they just threw it all away. Like, I understand, maybe logging into a server through Battlelog, it wasn't for everyone, it was definitely a bit buggy. You know, sometimes the game just wouldn't launch. It definitely had its issues. I'm not going to try and defend it on that front too much, but they should have worked on it and made it better and improved upon it. Instead, they just threw it out. And yeah, like you're saying, Prolosco, right? You could get the full map and you could put it on your second monitor. So just like with the Commander Mode, you could pull up the actual full-scale map of a round that was going on in your browser, put it on a second monitor, or an iPad, or a phone, I guess, as well, and then you could look at that live as you were playing the game. Like, how cool was that? It was super unique, and I don't understand why they got rid of it.
Interact directly with the game, anytime, anywhere, and on multiple devices.
So, let's jump into the demo. I'd like to invite Alex on stage to play the game. But to showcase the massive scale and scope, we're going to need a little help. What you're about to see
this is friggin' lit, man.
Siege of Shanghai. Isn't that awesome?
It is awesome.
We have 64 players who will be playing this game live.
Like, look at this shit, man. They've literally got 64 people from the DICE studio to come into E3 and do this live. So instead of having just some scripted gameplay where there's like 1,000 different cuts between things, what you're going to see is they just follow one single squad around, and they start on the A flag on Siege of Shanghai, they go through to the B flag, they go down to the water, they get on an attack boat, they go up into the C skyscraper, and then they end, of course, with like the big Levolution event. Like, that was just so incredible. And of course, it's like they've planned what they're going to do, right? It is scripted in that way. Like, they've been told, okay, you're going to go here with this tank, you're going to get RPG'd. Obviously, they can't kill the squad in the video because then that would kind of ruin things. But what I mean is, it's almost one continual, snippet of gameplay without any cuts where it shows you what the gameplay is going to look like. Most of the time we see Battlefield trailers, we can't really tell what the map is like or anything. You just see random snippets and you start to think, like, is this from the same map? Is this from another map? What part of the map is it from? So I thought this was cool. Obviously E3 has been canned, so we won't see it at E3, but
right now.
I don't know, man.
I know.
This is just such a cooler way to showcase a Battlefield game.
To see the 64-player live stream on Battlefield.com straight from our booth. And in this demo, we'll be following Alex and his 5-person squad as they try to capture the control points to dominate the battle. So Alex, take it away.
Okay, I'm going to switch to the YouTube version because this is me basically commentating over the entire thing. We don't want to hear Ghost of the Past doing that, so we're going to watch the short version here. But like he said, they actually had a playable demo there at E3 before the game came out. So people would go and play the demo, and it was being live streamed from there the entire time. So you could also just go and see what like regular Battlefield noobs were experiencing the new game like. Imagine if Battlefield 2042 would have been in that position. It would have been terrible. People would have seen it and been like, oh my god, what are all of these glitches, man? So maybe there's a reason that they didn't do that, you know? So classic here, coming in on the A flag. It's so weird to watch this as well because I remember watching this still for the first time. And I remember looking at all of the UI elements, looking at the squad, and like, oh, look, there's 5 people in a squad, and what are these icons here in the bottom right? And oh, what's this gun? What map are they on? Not knowing anything about the game. Now, of course, we know the exact layout of this map, but it's still kind of wild to me to watch this and, you know, see it after the fact. Like, I think what they must do for these things is they must give them a crazy health multiplier or something, so that they can't be killed, you know, because obviously if the main character here dies, then the video demonstration is kind of over. But what I like about this is now there's a bit of downtime, right? They're just stood on the flag and they're capping the flag. And these days people have such short attention spans. It has to be just like flashy, like stuff going on all the time, where I prefer this. This is like proper gameplay. You can see, okay, this is how the game is actually going to be, right? You're going to kill some enemies, you're going to stand around and cap on the flag. I mean, he just got shot in the face by a tank there, and he only took 18 damage, so he's definitely got some health multiplier on here. So here, of course, like, they're demonstrating the Levolution, right? The tank has probably been told, you're going to drive over the hole, we're going to blow up the pillar, and then somebody's going to come in and C4 you. Which is fair, though. I understand, of course, they need to script it, right? They need to show off all of the different parts of the gameplay, and that's not going to happen naturally. But you got to remember, they're doing this live on stage, guys. Like, if anybody screws it up or it goes wrong, they can't just say, okay, let's start again. You know, and again here, they're doing this all from the position of Alex's camera here. This one guy, they're not even switching to any other people in the squad. And this is like what Battlefield is all about, right? Because that's what it's going to be like for you as a player. You are only going to see your perspective, and you're going to have a squad around you, or you're supposed to, backing you up. So now he's showing off some nice naval gameplay here. Juicy toe on the attack boat there. Well, it's kind of funny to see how some of the old UI elements look as well there. You can see that the kill feed is not the same as it is now in BF4. So they bail from the attack boat here, taking the jet skis, going into the sea flag. And we all know what's going to happen in there, don't we? I don't know, man. I feel like the tower getting knocked down on Siege of Shanghai has gotten a lot of flack. It was really, really cool when this first came out, and we all saw it for the first few times. Then later on in the lifespan, people started to make servers where you weren't allowed to knock down the tower because the map was just a worse map for it. But now, after Battlefield 2042's lack of destruction and tornadoes and stuff, now I look back at BF4 and I'm like, it wasn't so bad, was it? It was pretty damn cool. I could go back to this. So iconic, man. Like the heli just coming up in front of the window. Like, you don't get any more Hollywood movie-like than that, do you? It's like something out of True Lies. And if you haven't seen True Lies, by the way, guys, what have you been doing with your life? You need to embrace Arnie. Beautiful. The Tomahawk missile, man. So great opportunity there to show this off. You rarely see this in game now. There's hardly anybody playing Commander, which is why I think it should actually be a soldier on the ground. It shouldn't be like a dedicated role. Boom. You know, because then it means if you're playing Commander in this game, you can't play as a soldier as well. You have to choose, and that's not always a good idea. Then again, if the commander role is up for grabs for, let's say, a squad leader, there's always going to be squabbling about, you know, who gets it. Does this person then get a bunch of kills for sending in Tomahawk missiles? And then they're going to get a bunch of points, and it's going to be very lucrative to actually be the commander. So it's a tricky thing to balance, but I think it should return to Battlefield. And down comes the skyscraper. And this is a travesty here. They're literally like blocking the end of the trailer with Battlefield 2042 Future Strike event. Does that not get your juices flowing though, guys? I mean, be honest with me here. Gets mine going, I'll tell you that. So, in comparison, let's take a little look at what they did with Battlefield 2042. And first of all, I do realize it was COVID, so surely a big event like this with 64 players on stage, it wouldn't have been possible. But let's just remind ourselves how this went. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but I just wanted to showcase a point here. So game engine footage. By the way, that just to be transparent here, that wasn't the first, that wasn't like the reveal of Battlefield 4. There were small teasers and things like that that did have a lot of cuts in there, but they all were made with in-game footage, I should say. I should be very clear on that. It was in-game footage. This teaser for Battlefield 2042, the first time the game was revealed, was game engine footage. So it's made in the engine, but it's all cinematics, right? The entire thing here is cinematically created. It's not part of the game per se. It's just made in the Frostbite engine. And, like, it's an amazing trailer for what it is, you know? I mean, we all got so hyped for this, didn't we? Little did we know when we saw that wingsuit how bloody annoying they would be. So annoying, dude. The rain... I'm talking about annoying. These were super annoying as well, right? Like, here they're trying to show off some of the Levolution in Battlefield 2042, or what appears to be Levolution, but it's not really that transparent when you play the game. Like, they're not... You don't really notice these things, do you? This is Manifest. And this... Manifest does not play anything like this. That's what I'm talking about, right? The way they showed off Siege of Shanghai in BF4, it actually is kind of how the map plays out. You do have naval combat. You do have helicopters coming up to the skyscraper and shooting you through the window. You do have Tomahawk missiles coming down from the commander, and the skyscraper does fall down. Like, those things all happen. What happens in this trailer? None of it really happens in Battlefield 2042 at all. The hovercrafts, man. We all remember those. I will give them this. The rocket was cool. The rocket's a cool thing. I like the rocket on orbital. But it was as if they only had either the budget or the time to make one cool Evolution event, and that was it. That was the marketing one. That's why that was the beta map, by the way. And then after that, they didn't really bother spending any time on the rest of the maps because they knew that they just didn't have it. Again, this is some really cool cinematics here with the helicopters around the skyscrapers on Hourglass. This never happens, or it should never happen. If you crash into the enemy attack helicopter, you're stupid. This sometimes happens. But this definitely never bloody happens. I've never seen this happen. Not once have I seen that happen. And in fact, I beg the question, how did the quad bike get up there? I guess he must have gone in the elevator. And this was the chef's kiss, man. This was when everybody wet their pants and hit the pre-order button. Right now. Pre-order, 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 guys! It's gonna be amazing! Oh! So good! I said we weren't gonna watch the whole thing, but I guess we are. I've said this so many times at this point, but the Battlefield trailer team, dude, they just nail it every time. Like, they're so good at doing these cinematic videos. And then the tornado comes in, of course, and we all thought this was going to be super cool, but they actually just turned out to be super irritating. I don't think anybody has really had a tornado come into their round and they've said, wow, like that round was so much fun because the tornado, it came in on the point that I was fighting on and it whisked a tank away that was attacking me. Like, that never really happens, does it? People just kind of go, oh, tornado. Bloody hell. You're on Hourglass and there's just sand everywhere. You can't see anything and you're like, oh, for God. That's my experience of the tornadoes. Dun, 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 dun. So that was that. And that was an amazing trailer. And that was what basically got us all to pre-order. I really hope that people stand by what they say, because I know people say this all the time. They're like, oh, I'm not going to pre-order the next game. But then they do it anyway. But I truly think that with Battlefield 2042, sorry, not Battlefield 2042, with the next Battlefield game, whatever its name may be, I really do think people are going to stand by that. Of course, people will pre-order. Those who are maybe young or they started playing with Battlefield 2042 recently, they're going to pre-order the game. But anyone who remembers everything we've been through in the past, 2 or 3 years, I seriously believe they're not going to pre-order this time and they're going to stand by their word. And I think that's why DICE need to make a trailer like we saw for Battlefield 4 there, where they're showing off the gameplay and they're like, this is what the game looks like. This is how it's going to play. If they want to do a cinematic trailer like that, because that's just what people are doing these days, that's fine. But then when they do this trailer here, which is like the gameplay trailer, it needs to have some proper gameplay that just isn't tons of cuts. I mean, it's similar to what we've seen for, you know, all of the events that come out, all of the seasons that come out for Battlefield 2042. The trailers are all the same. It's cinematic footage, lots of cuts, and then in between the cinematic footage, they splice in real bits of gameplay, and it makes it sort of hard to tell, like, what am I looking at here? What's actual gameplay? Like, you don't watch this and really come away after it feeling like, I understand that this is how the game is going to be to play. I understand that this is how the game is going to feel and how it's going to be experienced. I got that feeling with Battlefield 2042. I was like, wow, this game looks really, really fun. It wasn't overly trying to impress, but I feel like that's what they're trying to do with this, you know, these trailers here. I still remember this like it was yesterday as well. Analyzing all the little things and oh, look at this amazing map, guys. Look at all of the art. Look at all of the cover that's on the map. Notice that they don't show off any parts of the map that are totally bereft of cover and just wide open swathes of dusty terrain. Like, everything's just going kind of mental. In every single action shot here, there's just gunfire everywhere. They show this feature off, that's fine. Like, they're showing off the plus menu, that makes sense. The good old elevator shot. And then the C5 quad into the heli there, again, they really seem to want to push that Battlefield moment there, didn't they? Which, again, I've never seen happen, that. They've also added a lot of sound effects to this trailer. These sound effects are not from the game. They've been added in post. So, like, again, they made the tornado there. They made it look amazing, right? Super fun and like, wow, what a Battlefield moment. And maybe it was for the first time you experienced it, but then it was just a pain in the arse. Again, this was cool. This was cool when we all played the Orbital Beta and people were standing on top of the rocket and trying to see how high they could get up across the map and stuff like that. That was really, really nice, but yeah, I don't know what you guys think on this, but that's where I'm at, man. I really think that with the next game, they need to be as transparent as possible. They need to not hide things behind fancy, flashy trailers. They weren't, it's like in BF4, they weren't shy about showing that, you know what, there are going to be moments where there isn't constant action and you're just going to cap a flag, or you're just walking around a corner, or you're just going from A to B. It's not constant madness like they portray it to be in Battlefield 2042. And it was kind of all about, you know, these like Battlefield moments and that kind of push, like with the Rondazook, the Hurricane, all that stuff. So yeah, man, guys, if you're watching this, you know what to do. Don't let us down. Please don't let us down. Anywho, guys, I don't really know what my main point in this video is, but take it for what it's worth. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.